What's up, guys, and welcome back to the Join Dota League Season 4. This might be the last game of the American Division as Boreal Esports just lost versus the Thundercats. And if they lose this game, then they will be in Division 2 for Season 5, and Thundercats are going to enjoy their nice cushy position in Division 1. We'll see if Boreal can bring it back and win 2 consecutive games versus TC, but against last game's performance, it's going to be hard either way. We'll see if they can do it. I'm Mike Loris, got Grandis here as well, and it just seems like, man, Boreal got outplayed pretty much at every stop. Do you think there's anything that they could really change up?
Not necessarily. It really felt very tight from Thundercats throughout the entire game. There were a couple little questionable plays here and there where maybe they could tighten the screws, but it really feels like Boreal need to go with something maybe that they're more comfortable with, because it really didn't feel like they played very well. The blinks didn't come out for a long time in the Axe and Puck in particular. And for the most part, it did feel like they got outplayed. They're going to open things up with the Vengeful Spirit, follow up with the Void, and for TC, it's going to be a Juggernaut Lion opener.
Alright, so Boreal going to pick up one of the most powerful support heroes in the game, at least in my humble opinion. I'm in love with that Vengeful Spirit first pick, and I think it's probably the best way to go ever, but I'm biased, of course. The comboing with Faceless Void, or not as much a combo as a kind of protection for Faceless Void. Don't really want to be a Faceless Void going up against a Vengeful Spirit, as when you Chronosphere a target, you want to be able to kill that target, and Vengeful Spirit doesn't let you do that. So a nice, powerful opening strategy from Boreal after having the Troll Warlord banned out from them. Thundercats, though, Juggernaut and Lion. This is also a very solid combination. You get that instant point-click Hex, which we just saw the effectiveness of in the last game. Just as good versus Faceless Void as it is versus anyone else. And then the Juggernaut, who is going to have, of course, his time in the sun not being banned out. Kind of peculiar to see the Tide being banned out after it was ignored for so long in the last game.
Yeah, I think so. Might have been annoying for them to deal with if they have a Faceless Void, just another disruptive spell to throw inside the Chrono, but I don't think it really mandates that first ban slot. I think that Juggernaut and Lion are a little bit scarier, maybe even a lot.
Yeah, this is a really dangerous combination. You have the flexibility of going for Blade Fury if you really want to. Nowadays, people don't really do that. I'm still a fan of it, but hell, if you just instant cast that Hex onto someone, spin them down, there's not really that much that they could do about it. And, well, if not that, then being able to roam around as Lion +1, and that's a dangerous combination. It'll buy a lot of space for the Juggernaut. That being said, Boreal can do a very similar thing. Vengeful Spirit +1 can be a very devastating roam combination, and when it comes down to that, it really depends on these secondary supports. We see Ancient Apparition being banned out, but man, there are still some very huge powerhouse supports in this pool, and I think whoever gets the supports that end up doing more is just going to win the game.
Yeah, right now I think Thundercats would probably want to ban out the Witch Doctor here. I don't think there's really anything scarier that Boreal can pick up, unless of course they want it for themselves. But just having a Death Ward to dump into the Chrono, as well as having that extra physical damage amp from Vengeful Spirit and her Howl, is really, really scary.
Yeah, that's going to be one of the most dangerous combinations, well, right now, but also like ever in Dota. Dazzle, though, is going to be the pick for Thundercats, so the supports, as far as doing more, as I was saying before, it's probably not going to be with this Dazzle pickup. Still a great hero to have, don't get me wrong, but not as much so up against an Axe. Shallow Grave doesn't really do much when you're missing a head, so Dazzle the defensive pick for the Thundercats, and maybe they're just going to try to slow this down a little bit, and that's fine. Like, you don't have to go all out with your supports, just the power is there for the Lion if they want to go for that. Looks like this game they're going to play a little bit slower and steadier, whereas for Boreal, I mean, whenever you grab an Axe, I usually say it's inherently aggressive. Faceless Void doesn't really want to be played like that, at least not often.
For Thundercats, it's going to be a Doom next, and this can be very scary for Boreal if they are allowed to drag out this game. A double Aghanim's Doom can spell the end of Faceless Void's happy days on this world, and can be very scary. Even though Axe does counter Dazzle and his Shallow Grave, at the very least, it's going to be hard for them to actually get the Coal off inside the Chronosphere, so there is definitely still some defensive capabilities with Dazzle, but it is definitely mitigated.
And Dazzle's always going to be very, very far away from team fights forever. I mean, if you're in the front as Dazzle, you're doing something really wrong. So the positioning on Dazzle is going to be the most important thing for him in order to stay alive, and you could usually count on your Dazzle to be very far away. The Doom pickup for Thundercats is actually a little bit particular. Generally, I like Doom when you are currently without any crowd control at all, or very light on it. They have Lions, so that's not really the case. And the enemy team has, Weavers or Storm Spirits or Anti-Mages or heroes that demand that, point-click disable. Right now, Thundercats they're not really up against it. They don't really need that Doom yet. I'm not entirely convinced in this Doom pick. It will, restrict some of Boreal's potential picks down the line, but that's not really what you want to be doing with your picks.
Fair enough. Well, for Boreal now, it kind of feels like they do want to go for another support, and I don't think there's a great reason to shy away from that Witch Doctor that I was talking about earlier. If not for the Witch Doctor, however, what else do you think they'd be considering?
Well, the pool isn't really that deep. Witch Doctor does have its counters. Like, pretty much everyone on Thundercats can disrupt that ward, assuming they're outside of that Chronosphere. But it feels like that's the most powerful combination if they want to be looking for this Wombo combo. As far as other supports that can do it, there aren't really that many. Like, you could have supports that put in a lot of damage into the Chronosphere. Heroes like Lina will have, all the time in the world to land her combo, but it's not as spectacular, and it definitely doesn't have as much of a ceiling as the likes of that Death Ward. So for Boreal, the Witch Doctor seems perfectly reasonable here. I don't really see any huge reason not to do it. But they pick a Storm Spirit into a Doom. That is not something I would have expected from them.
No, it really isn't, and maybe why they spend so much time thinking about it, because Storm Spirit definitely wasn't the first pick on my mind. Lincoln Sphere feels like it's going to be almost mandatory, but it's not an item you want to go first ever on Storm. You want to get that Orchid, and going defensive items usually is an afterthought for the hero. Although the Orchid control is going to be really nice up against the Jug, and he can be very scary, this game, it really feels like he's going to be controlled too much inside the team fights. Maybe for pickoffs he's going to be effective, but inside an actual team fight, if he's not doomed, he's going to be hexed or spiked up. He'll eat a finger to the face, Juggernaut can Omni slash him up. There's just not really a happy place for the Storm.
And if these first picks were swapped, if Boreal picked up Storm Spirit and then Doom was picked as a response, I would be completely on board. I would understand that 100%. But man, you don't really want to pick up heroes that are so reliant on mobility when you're going up against a Doom. And Storm Spirit, as far as heroes that are reliant with their mobility, is at the top pretty much completely. Like, no one's even close. I would say Timbersaw maybe close to the Storm Spirit, but Storm Spirit lives and dies by his ultimate, and if he doesn't have that, then man, what do you actually do? You just run away and hope for the best. The Lina that I mentioned before is going to be picked, though not in the situation that I envisioned. It looks like it's going to be a mid Lina for Thundercats, and the matchups or potential matchups in her mid lane right now are all pretty good for the Lina.
Yeah, I usually am not one to say that Lina is the best pick here. I'm definitely not going to say no to picking up the hero just because it's fun to watch. But this game, it looks like it might actually work out. They have the double laser cannon to pop into somebody, although even when we see these heroes drafted together, we don't get to see that very often, especially up against like the Axe and Swordster. Bringing them out of the fight as fast as possible can be really crucial for your team, and it's really scary. Boreal going to snag up a Zeus as their last pickup, and I really don't feel it. It's going to offer them some nice amount of damage, but I don't think that's what they needed.
It's going to be KVH grabbing that Zeus, and Schwan is going to be on the Axe. Assuming they keep similar hero player assignments, I think we're looking at a jungling Axe this game, and that's pretty reasonable up against teams that can't really punish it. TC will be able to maybe punish it if they really want to. They can, but they probably aren't going to be doing that. So it's an interesting pickup for the Boreal side. The Witch Doctor was banned out, and I'm pretty sure they would have loved to get their hands on that. But as far as this supporting cast, possible support cast, Loki can't support as the Zeus, or they could have a jungling Axe. Either way, it's fine, I think. TC, they can't really punish it hard enough.
Fair enough. Well, to introduce our sides, it looks like all of the swapping has died down. We are going to have Thundercats, or, well, actually, we have another swap from Boreal, but that doesn't matter. Thundercats have stuck with their heroes. Team. WWD going to be playing on the Juggernaut, DK on the Lina, Guanzo on the Doom, Ryza on the Lion, and Archer, last but not least, on the Dazzle.
Alright, so I'm pretty sure Boreal have everyone on the right positions. So we got 747 who's going to be playing the Axe. Loki's going to be playing the Zeus. Played the Venge last game, so support Zeus incoming, I'm sure. Vengeful Spirit's going to be played by KVH with 470 on the Faceless Void, and Schwan is going to be on the Storm Spirit. It's definitely a case of them switching up heroes to get, players that are more comfortable with the hero. That's what you have to do with Storm Spirit, and well, that's pretty much it. Everyone else kind of plays itself. But we'll see how they actually want to lane this. For now, it's going to be 470, going down to the bottom lane as the Void. Right now, it's going to be at the very least a Juggernaut matchup, and that in of itself is not great for Void. Add on a Dazzle and Lion, and Void's probably not going to get jack, but he's going to be roughing it down there and probably not going to be getting much.
Definitely. So it looks like it is just going to be a jungle axe as the Zeus has headed towards the middle lane. KVH is going to settle on that hero and is going to be going for the straight out bottle rush. He gets pulled 2 Tangas and snags himself 2 clarities. You can't actually rush the bottle much harder on a Zeus.
Yeah, it's a reasonable start for the Zeus, and when you're going up against Alina, you will have the luxury of having guaranteed harassment, as Alina has a chance of missing her skills, especially that LSA. Her poking damage with her longer range, and I think she has more right-click damage, as Zeus, yeah, he has crap starting damage. DK will be able to chip at the Zeus with right-clicks, but you can't really compare that to the harassment of bolts later on. So Lina's going to have to control the lane very early on if she wants to have any sort of edge. Otherwise, if she doesn't dominate the Zeus, then the Zeus will end up just crushing her with those lightning bolts. Maybe Lina strikes back with Laguna Blade every now and again, but it's not going to be a safe way to play that lane at all. And that should be the name of the game early on in the mid lane. Up towards top, it's going to be a 3v0 lane, so Guanza's going to completely bail out for now. Maybe he's just going to grab a creep and then return to that top lane, but man, going up to that top lane, even though it's, just Storm and Vengeful Spirit, that's already bad for the Doom.
Yeah, it really is. I honestly don't expect Guanza to go back up towards top, but maybe he'll get a little bit of experience out there. I think he could get more, and it would be less risky for him just to chill inside the jungle. He'll find himself the Hellbear Smasher, and he's probably going to consume that one up for himself, giving a little bit of extra attack speed as he rotates through, and it looks like that is going to be the order of business.
There's no sense in risking it up there, which is fine. He didn't invest any wards deep up towards that top lane, just the top one, so that DK can have a little bit of rune vision rather, and the Doom will be happily in the jungle. Kind of mirrored by the Axe, although in general Axes do jungle a lot more effectively than the Doom. They can clear a lot faster, and also they can contribute a hell of a lot more a lot earlier. If Axe finds himself a good rune or something, he could very easily kill off DK if the ward wasn't there spotting everything out. So it's going to be a dual jungle. Never mind, maybe not a dual jungle. Guanza's going back up there, but maybe a dual jungle game moving forward. And in that sense, the safe lane heroes are going to have that much of an easier time. But it looks like on the TC side of the safe lane, they lost control a little bit. This is a lot of experience going towards the Faceless Void. That should not be given to him.
Yeah, it's kind of mirrored by the Doom up towards top. Since the Doom wasn't present in the lane, they make a conscious decision to push out the wave and put some pressure on the tier 1, so I think that's why Guanzo made his way back up towards the top lane. But yeah, Faceless Void is going to be finding about as much as far as experience is concerned. Now going to be trading blows with the Dazzle. With some backup from Ryza, however, this is not a comfortable place for 470, although he should be just fine.
Yeah, until Ryuzawa gets to that level 2 mark where he picks up Hex, the chances of Faceless Void dying are just so astronomically low that he can play very, very fast and loose with his life. He has the Poor Man's Shield, still has a lot of regeneration, so he could shrug off most of the harassment. It will be very annoying, the harassment, especially when WWD starts chopping into him, but right now Archer can't really trade with 470 at all. Like, it just won't go well for him. So the Void will be doing okay over in that bottom lane, and Guanza's actually being untouched because Loki and Schwann, they're kind of dual jungling. Vengeful Spirit just grabbing that double damage rune, but she's not actively pressuring the Doom in lane, and if you're not pressuring the Doom in lane, he's going to be getting a hell of a lot of gold with that Devour, and every single time he devours a creep, that's him getting one step closer to his Midas. Then you just can't stop him at all.
No, even if you constantly kill him, Axe is going to take the expressway back to base. As he does die, he buys his Tranquil Boots beforehand and a TP scroll, so he actually loses nothing from that. So although it looks a little awkward on the kill score, it is going to benefit Boreal.
I'm waiting for the day when they fix that, but I don't think that's going to come anytime soon. Regardless, Axe is going to be responding soon enough. He's already level 4, and well, the support status of TC is going to be falling behind that Axe. Overall, for Boreal, the lanes are going pretty darn well. 747 is very happy up towards the top lane as that Storm has a Null Talisman recipe. That's not the item I was expecting. I thought Soul Ring or Hand of Midas, but sure, Null Talisman is also pretty good on Storm Spirit. He's untouched in this lane, and he will be untouched for pretty much the entire game. KVH is doing not as great as Delina, but still doing very well, and the Faceless Void is getting quite a bit of experience. So TC, they are going to be having to change things up soon enough, else they face Boreal, who are getting really big really quick.
Yeah, right now it's not the same situation as game number 1 that we saw. TC are not maintaining advantage, and Boreal are getting quite a bit more experience out of that because Axe just innately jungles quite a bit faster than the Doom. Even though he has Devour working for him, Axe's ability to clear out creeps is not really paralleled by very many other junglers.
Yeah, maybe he could be outpaced by an Enigma just because Enigma can instantly kill a creep. But aside from that, there aren't really many junglers that could stand up to an Axe as far as clearing speed and safety of clearing as well. So it's going to be a happy situation over there, but down towards bottom lane, 470 is in quite a bit of trouble. Being body blocked a little bit by Ryuza, not quite enough damage to kill that Faceless Void. That level 1 backtrack proving to be a lifesaver for him, and he's going to salve up and stick in the lane, but that's the threat of a level 2 Lion. Huge leap of power from a level 1 Lion to a level 2 Lion, as having both Hex and Earth Spike means you get kills on these inherently fragile heroes of the Faceless Void, but it's not going to happen just yet, but really they don't need it to happen. Juggernaut is still very happy down in this bottom lane. He's going to be going for, it looks like a stat build. Yes, double stats, 1 healing ward, 1 spin. I expect the Blade Fury to be coming up soon enough, and Juggernaut, once he hits that level 6 mark, then killing the Faceless Void is going to be a cakewalk.
Yeah, he has actually held the point for crit if he actually needs it. Right now, he's just holding on to it because he doesn't want to crit if he's just passively farming, as that can cause more problems than you want it to. DK now at the level 6, not met by the Zeus's level 6. Does have a little bit of an edge in this lane for now, but KVH is going to remedy that. Both of these heroes need to be so careful. They're both squishy and have a lot of nuke damage, which could be the start of a bloodbath. We do have a smoke coming out from Ryuza, and it might be Zeus who's at the receiving end of this kill. KVH is going to walk forward, looking for a chain lightning. He gets the CS with it, and now back under his tower is going to be fine for the time being.
Well, the Lina is now off the map, and it might be Loki to be on the receiving end. Yeah, she's going to run into both. There's a Laguna Blade here. Loki is doomed to fall one way or another. Earth Spike, right clicks, and the LSA to get the kill. Vengeful Spirit in the wrong place at the wrong time. Though if you're Boreal, you'd rather have your Venge die than KVH. Both of those targets equally viable in TC's eyes. Whoever they run into most likely is going to die, and well, they just ran into the right target for Boreal. But still, it's not really good times just because DK still has that Laguna Blade. If the Laguna Blade was invested there, Zeus is going to breathe a little bit easier in the mid lane, knowing that, yeah, he can get stunned and right-click down, but he won't automatically die. But still, right now, if he's hit with that LSA, Zeus is as good as dead.
More or less. Right now, the full combo of Lina, I want to say 100 to 0's KVH, and if it doesn't, a couple more right clicks on top of it are going to spell his end. If an LSA lands, I think that's pretty much it. As long as Lina has the mana, that is.
And she is packing a good amount of mana. Quick math, and it looks like she'll be just short, but now she's perfectly fine. And she has 1,000 gold as well, so if she wants to run over to the side shop, grab a set of arcanes, then she will be perfect for the rest of the game. DK and Ryuza, they're going to smoke up one more time, and it looks like this time they're going to pay the Storm Spirit a visit. A little bit too comfortable in this top lane, perhaps, or they're going to run into the Axe, or they're just going to awkwardly shuffle around near the secret shop. That's good too, just deciding which way they want to go, but they're ultimately going to take the direct approach. Walking into Hex range and then just getting that off is a very easy way of killing off a Storm Spirit, though he may have the Ball Lightning. If he sees it coming, he will be fine. He does see it coming. Now he's going to be fine unless he just doesn't leave. He's going to stick around, gets hexed up, gets spiked up. He has Loki to support, though. Going to land a Magic Missile into DK. Here comes KVH with a lot of burst damage. Loki's going to drop low to start things off. KVH with the haste is going to be literally running circles around TC, but they don't really want to walk in to this line because they know Earth Spike is cooling down one more time. Is really no one going to die from this? That is so freaking weird that they have a Storm Spirit, a Zeus the haste, and no one dies. DK still laying himself out there, and Boreal can jump and kill this DK very fast, if not for the Shallow Grave. They're thinking about it. They're going to go for it. They have Magic Missile, which will stun DK. Where's the Ball Lightning? Not there. Even though Storm Spirit has literally a full mana pool, they're not going to commit to this. Really respecting that Laguna Blade. It might be a little bit too scared play coming out from Boreal. It's DK. He's going to turn things around. No, he's not going to find anything. So actually just no one dies.
Really awkward exchange. Both teams posturing incredibly aggressively, but nobody finds the opening. That Zeus on that retreat would have died to a Dragon Slave as well as Laguna Blade if DK actually connects with both of those spells, but just not able to find the range. Lina, not the fastest heroes. Double damage rune on DK also is something else that Boreal need to respect. Faceless Void was picking up the slack in mid, and he's going to find himself completed up PTs, but I'm honestly surprised that we're only 2-0 in this game, and that one death was on the Axe inside the jungle. Really, it's just been the first blood on the Venge.
Yeah, and it's so rare that you see Storm Spirits with full mana pools, or in pretty much full mana pools ever. Like, they want to be spamming out their skills, at the very least getting value out of their mana regeneration, and that seems like a perfect chance to go in. Yeah, it's dangerous, but if you could open up with a Zeus and a Vengeful Spirit right behind you, you're probably going to walk away with more kills than deaths. So Storm Spirit playing it very cautious, and that just shows how much 747 values his Orchid. he doesn't really want to take any unnecessary risks. He knows that once he takes the Orchid up, he's going to be able to kill pretty much the entirety of TC, no questions asked. But speaking of killing off, bottom lane, it's Faceless Void to be Omni Slashed, and that is just going to be that. I mean, there's nothing you could do as Void.
Yeah, there really isn't any. Right now, the kill threshold for the Lina is 577. Up towards top, Archer going to save his life with a shallow grave, and now Storm Spirit in a bit of a precarious situation. Should be able to kill off Archer first. LSA going to not connect with 747 now. Fresh out of mana, the Laguna Blade going to connect. Where's Dragon's Blade connects from long range? And DK is going to be able to secure that kill, and now looks towards Loki. Dishing with a double damage rune. Is he fast enough to actually pursue? He has 3 stacks of the extra movement speed from the Fiery Soul. Now looks for an LSA going to connect on to 470. He has a couple backtracks here and there. Now with the Chronosphere, looks for the turn, looking for a bash or anything on a DK, but just can't find it. And now it's going to be forced away. Lina isn't going to be able to get the return kill, but still vast win for TC.
So double damage rune is apparently really good, and Lina with that 3 levels of Fiery Soul, LSA not really even a factor there. As long as you could get those stacks up and chase down with the double damage, you're going to be doing a hell of a lot of work, and that's the power of mid Lina. You get extra skills. Maybe if you're a support Lina, you want that extra nuking damage of LSA. Maybe you have some setup, but she's able to just go ham all by herself because of how much mobility she has, and once she grabs a Eul Scepter, then she will be 100% online. A Eul Scepter into an LSA, pretty difficult to miss as long as you've played the hero ever before, and clearly DK has done that, so the Lina combo is soon to be online, and at that point, Boreal, they're going to have to really be careful. Storm Spirit, he can get away from most situations, but there's just not enough time between the LSA and the end of the Lina combo that you have to get away with the Ball Lightning. So TC right now have full control of this game because of their stacked Lina, and they also have a Juggernaut who's been untouched. Might not be that case for very long as the Axe is packing that Blink Dagger. He wants blood, and he's going to find a Lion, but it's a Lion. I don't think TC really care about this. They're going to maybe not lose anyone at all. They're going to run to Loki. That's about it.
Yeah, now they know the jig is up, and Lion, I think he's just fine as well. That should be all she wrote. Although WWD is going to walk up this ramp, and things could get precarious. The smoke going to dissipate on both Chuan as well as KVH as they look towards mid. They have the haste on KVH. Blink Call going to catch out DK with the Thunderbolt, Thunder God's Wrath. But DK survives. Axe just doesn't stick around for the call. That's going to be Lina's survival and a really awkward engagement.
I could kind of understand why they wanted to retreat, but there's a Calling Blade there. Axes love doing that. That's pretty much why you pick the hero. Not really, but, for the most part, maybe sometimes. But, man, if you have a Calling Blade opportunity there and you don't take it, it's just such, first of all, restraint from Boreal. Maybe a little bit too much. In the meantime, they lose their Lion down towards the bottom lane. There's not really much that Lion can do versus a Storm Spirit. He just has to try to jam that Hex button and hope it all works out in the end, but sometimes it just doesn't. But honestly, TC, they're lucky to escape with their Lina's life over in the mid lane. 9 times out of 10, your Lina dies there, as if you get called within a creep wave, and that was a full creep wave call also, you're going to die, even though you may have a Dazzle right next to you. So Boreal, they're playing this very safe, and this is maybe costing them one too many opportunities.
Yeah, even though Faceless Void and Storm, in theory, are very scary late-game heroes, and it's also not to be understated the late-game potential of their supports, too. They have a pretty good supporting cast behind them. Up against a Doom, it's really risky, especially if you have the Laguna Blade as well as Finger of Death combination, which, although usually magic damage does start to phase out, especially once BKBs come through, that's not really the case. Spoke up towards top as they look for the Doom onto 470. He's going to be hexed, doomed. They blinking for the call, catches out 3. Xuan looking for enough damage. He's not getting enough spins, however. They're going to Laguna Blade the axe and now cleave him down with Kwanzaa. Faceless Void can do nothing but watch. They drop the ultimate coming out from the Zeus, being healed up by the Healing Ward, however, as WWE chases forward with the Mask of Madness. They haven't lost anything else on the other side of the map as Archer also joins the fray, and now TC are primed to take a tier 1 tower.
And it literally does not get better than that for an Axe. Like, you're not going to get more than a 4-man call ever unless you're going up against scrubs, and that's clearly not the case here. TC have been around the block. They're not going to get caught up by more than that. They tried to go with the Faceless Void, and that is, to be fair, a kill that they would much rather have than that Axe, but man, a kill's a kill, and they also take a tower following. Yeah, they have to bring in the cavalry, but they're just walking all over the map, and even when Boreal get perfect initiation, it's just not going to be enough. They needed that Faceless Void to be undoomed so he could lay a Chronosphere down, or they needed anyone to be there, but WWD coming in with that Healing Ward, just making it so that Boreal, they don't stand a chance at taking those fights. And TC, they don't really invest all too much. That was, I believe, the first Doom of the game, so they will be able to just rely on that for pretty much the entirety of the game. And they also have Laguna Blade back up. Finger of Death wasn't even used. the burst damage potential here for TC is huge. Like, it is Laguna Blade, Finger of Death, and Omni Slash. Good luck surviving that as any hero.
Poor Ryuza. He's going to bump into the storm. He is going to be able to get the Hex and Earth Spike, however, and that means that he's not actually going to die. But 747, he wants in, going to get the pull in, but now Yule's stop. He's in a whole heap of trouble. The LSA actually misses, but Finger of Death that's going to. That's going to crater poor Storm, and they really wanted that Orchid so badly for Boreal. They've been playing so passively, and just out of nowhere, Storm goes balls deep.
Yeah, that is not a play that I would expect from a Storm who didn't make that play up on the top lane. You're using most of your mana to get close to a Lion, and you know that there's a tower right there, so TP support is probably incoming already since you already got hexed. So deciding to make that jump in, just so incredibly risky, and I love the fact that Lion got that kill as well. A little bit of karma there for the Storm Spirit and a little bit of satisfaction for the Lion, but it's such a weird play to see. Storm Spirit was playing so restrained, yet he chooses now, of all times, to YOLO dive a tier 1 tower where he knows backup is coming. You wouldn't really expect that from a Storm Spirit ever, let alone a Storm Spirit who's playing so cautiously.
Yeah, definitely. So right now, that is going to delay Boreal's plans for a couple minutes at the very least. 2, maybe 3, till 747 has that Orchid, and that's 2 and 3 minutes where they have to be so scared of TC's team. The Yule Scepter initiation coming up from Lina is going to pretty much trump everything. You still have an Omni Slash up that's level 2 for the Juggernaut, and pretty quickly we're going to have a Blink Dagger up for Ryuza. Even though he's died once on this line, for the most part, he's been left to his own devices, although that's not going to be the case for much longer. Axe and Storm are going to be coming into him with a vengeance. Although he is not without backup, this could go disastrously for either side.
It's bait. Ryuza is going to die here most likely, and he's very quickly going to take a fall, but here comes the Omni Slash. It will hit mostly creeps, though. Lots of damage to Schwamp, but they're instead going to focus on 747. Laguna Blade, not enough mana, actually, and 747 gets to live. I can't believe that actually happened. First of all, I'm not surprised at all that Lion died there. I mean, that was probably going to happen no matter what happened, but maybe miscommunication with the Yule Scepter on Storm Spirit. Maybe the Juggernaut jumped the gun. Maybe TC just didn't expect their Lion to die that fast. Either way, Boreal get in, get the kill, get out. They don't lose anyone there. Now they're maybe going to catch DK. No, Yule Scepter going to come before that Chronosphere, so not going to drop there. But, man, that was just a huge amount of burst damage, and it's just all around the board, not enough for TC. So it's a Lion death, which is not the worst thing in the world, but when you set up bait like that, and your bait gets eaten and the fish gets away, you're so sad about that, man.
You really are. That was just so many ifs. Maybe if they waited just a fraction of a second, I don't know. It really is needed for Boreal to find that pickoff, however, because that's going to be Storm, instead of dying, finding himself halfway towards that Orchid recipe, which is pretty darn huge for him. You kind of need that to go in towards his favor. And TC, although they have a really scary Juggernaut, that's Omni Slash on cooldown where they don't get any kills. So WWD, at least for the next 50 seconds, isn't going to be as threatening.
And Boreal, they still have a lot of momentum here, given the fact that they do have that Chronosphere. Yeah, they have to worry about a lot of bursts still. They know at this point the Doom is back online, so maybe things aren't going to go necessarily their way. They should know that Guanzo also has a Blink Dagger at this stage, so they're going to give him quite a wide berth. But right now, Boreal, they have the Chronosphere, and whenever you have the Chronosphere, you should be looking for something. Maybe not like this, maybe not 470 running into Guanzo randomly in the Radiant Jungle, but Boreal, they are playing just so cautiously, and maybe they're just waiting for this Orchid, but I don't really think they're going to get the impacts out of this Orchid that they are really expecting. Waiting this long for like a Blink Dagger or a BKB is fine. Waiting this long for an Orchid probably is a waste of time.
Yeah, it really feels like things are getting out of control. We have the Mantis Style now up for the Juggernaut, and that's further going to reduce the impact of that Orchid, taking off that silence from the Jug, and you also have the Yules on the Lina to purge that off too. They set their sights down towards bottom, Blink Hoof Stomp onto 470, follow up with the LSA, they doom him, waste no ultimates, they're going to Laguna Blade his face, and that's going to be the end of Faceless Void. I suppose you can't Laguna Blade his face, but either way, they'll put some pressure on the tier 1 tower after the fact.
Yeah, you Laguna Blade the Void, I suppose, and not the face. I don't know, he kind of does have it. You shove it in his mouth, and that's lightning. That's not where you want to be. That's not what you want to be eating, and, well, it's going to be Faceless Void dead one way or another. And they also take down the tower to boot. WWD a little bit late to that party, but a tower is a tower, and it looks like Boreal, they're going to try to make a trade over in the mid lane. They have their Storm Spirit in a perfect position right now. They might catch Archer when he's incoming, but Ryuza's right here, and because Ryuza has that blink, you have to go for the Lion, but you also want to go for Archer because it's like they both have ways of covering each other with the heal and Grave versus the Hex and Spike. There's no real good target here for Storm Spirit, at least not until this happens. DK away from the rest of his squad. Null Talisman free Null Talisman, free Courier. What does he want? He wants to go for that Courier. 1 hit, 2 hits. They mess up the Laguna. They mess up the Cyclone, rather. DK is going to botch that slightly. Courier goes down, but it only has a Null Talisman. Who cares? Meantime, bottom lane, Axe tried to do something cute with a Blink Call, but ended up getting Omni Slashed, and now he's dead. Over towards the mid lane, Boreal will take a tower, but it's going to be a 1-for-2 tower trade.
Yeah, and a tier 2 tower with that. TC going to be able to mop up the one down towards bottom. Even though they glyph and are able to delay a little bit longer, it really feels like kind of a wash, and Boreal didn't want it to be. They waited so long for this Orchid. They'll put it to use onto WWD, and he doesn't have the Manta Style on cooldown for 10 seconds. That's going to be the end of his life. Jug sticking around with no mana.
Yeah, perfect timing for the Storm Spear to jump in, and there's not much you can do as the Juggernaut except for have mana in that situation, but man, if you're going to take a tier 2 tower, you're going to probably just go all out if you can make good with that trade, and it's a little bit unfortunate for TC that they lost their Juggernaut, but again, they got the tower trade advantage. Not really a terribly huge deal there, but also for Boreal, they got a kill on the Juggernaut, they got a tower, they got a Courier. Things aren't looking too bad for them either. It just seems like with this Axe, they should be looking for a whole lot more. Schwann's Axe has been kind of underwhelming. He's gotten a lot of good calls, but those calls don't actually matter if you don't do anything with them. You have to be getting kills with the Axe early on, because at this stage, 20 minutes in, Axe is going to be at his peak or starting to decline from his peak. And either way, it's not good for you.
No, it's really not when you're just farming Ancients. You want to be farming Heroes, 1, 3, and 0. It's not very impressive. TC going to be looking up towards top, grouped up with 4 heroes. It looks like they're prepping for a smoke, but do they have one? No, it looks like they're just going to be lying in wait and potentially checking out the Void inside the jungle. They'll expect somebody to be farming here, and let's see how caught out this Void is going to be. If they get the Blink Hex onto him, I'm tempted to say he's just straight up dead.
Well, they have no chance now. That Thunder God's Wrath comes in. That was a kind of random wrath from the Zeus, but man, they saved the Void's life right there. As between Blink Daggers on Lion, Lina, and Doom, there's no chance in hell that Void gets away from that. And also WWD over in the mid lane might be in a little trouble. Blink call, WWD is going to get Ball of Lightning, needs to Orchid and then spin out, but he is long dead. Juggernaut, not enough time to do anything there, as Boreal, they run the gank train and hits the Juggernaut. Might be a tower push afterwards, but they also have to worry about this top lane. And this top lane tier 2 is going to be under a lot of pressure. And honestly, I don't know if Boreal can defend this. The vision is there for TC, so they will know exactly who's coming in and when. And even without their Juggernaut, I think that TC, with the power that their Lina has, with the lockdown of the Doom and the burst damage between Finger and Laguna Blade, they can kill whoever comes in if they really wanted to. But they're going to fall back, taking no chances, because why bother taking chances?
I honestly think that was one of the most valuable Zeus ultimates I've ever seen. Not only does it save the Faceless Void's life, it gives them the intel that 4 people are ganking the Void, and you save him, and Juggernaut's farming mid alone. Even though it's usually pretty conservative to be farming right about here on your safe lane farmer, and pretty comfortable to do so, not in this case. They'll lose their line down towards bottom, and now Doom onto 747, but with the Chronosphere turn around, they're going to get a kill into Guanzo. After the fact, Laguna Blade going to kill off the Faceless Void, and now Guanzo going to survive with Scorched Earth as well as Healing Ward regen. The Doom on 747 is going to mean that they clean up a double kill for DK.
Oh man, Doom took so much damage there. He's going to draw out the Zeus ultimate, and he will survive. WWD's Healing Ward providing some serious benefits in this game. And well, first of all, that Doom took a hell of a lot of damage. Like, he has 1 base armor, he has no survivability items at all. He is a glass cannon, as weird as it is to say for a Doom. He is very easy for Boreal to kill, but there was also that kind of anti-synergy of the Lina and the Faceless Void I mentioned before. You can put a lot of damage to the Chronosphere. It really doesn't matter whose Chronosphere it is. Lina's able to dish out the damage. Schwann's going to jump in after the Aegis has been grabbed. Now he's completely boned. Like, he might do a little bit of damage to WWD, but he won't get the kill because of the Aegis. A little bit late on that for the Axe. You generally have to go before the Roshan is dead. So it's going to be a whole bunch of kills for TC, plus an Aegis, and they don't lose anyone. Their Doom gets to survive, and I'm pretty sure Guanzo at this point is going to be looking for a plate mail.
Yeah, I think that's probably a pretty comfortable item to go for. He's going to go instead for an Aghanim Scepter, but honestly I think just backing up for any sort of armor item would be worthwhile. Even filling that last slot with just a casual Ring of Protection, I think would be a lot of value.
Yeah, he almost got like 4-shot by a Void or something like that. It was very fast, the speed at which Void was killing him off, and that's only a Mask of Madness on the Void. Over towards mid though, the tower push has been a success for the tier 1, and it looks like they are thinking about jumping in for a tier 2. They have the Lina coming in, and they have their whole squad here with the Aegis. You might as well make a play for this, although it's probably as safe as it's going to get because they know that Chronosphere is down, so This tower push from TC is incoming. They just have to make sure that the Dazzle is close enough to the Juggernaut so that he doesn't get instantly obliterated. And even if he does, still he has the Aegis. So this tower push I see being decently successful for the TC side.
Yeah, WWD has some sustain coming up from the Dazzle. They'll mop with the illusions, but now Finger of Death committed on KPH. He survives on the sidelines. They try to get in for the Chronosphere, but they actually can't do anything. Swap comes out from bench and going to cost her life. They focus down 470. He's going to be dropped down. Finally, Cole onto the Dazzle, but WWD now stunned up in the front lines. That's going to be your second goal, but he has the Aegis. Doom on a 747. There's actually nothing the Storm Spirit can do at this point. They have the Lina over in the sidelines, and he's completely dead. In the meantime, WWD fighting up against 3, probably not going to win that fight, but with the spin out, he is going to survive. Mask of Madness move speed proves to be too much for Boreal, and it's going to be a 2-for-2 trade, but one that favors TC.
You know, Boreal actually do take out the Aegis. This fight there from TC a little bit scattered because of the swap away from the Vengeful Spirit. Laguna Blade over in mid lane. DK almost kills himself. Wave will kill him. You don't see that every day. Vengeful Spirit collecting huge off of the slight misplay maybe from Lina, or maybe just a very elaborate play from the Axe. It's very rare that you get to Laguna Blade return onto the Lina, but Lina for the most part kills herself, but by getting that kill, she gets herself that much closer to her Aghanim Scepter, and giving up a lot of gold to the Vengeful Spirit isn't really going to matter too much in the grand scheme of things. She might get upgraded boots. Oh no, that's the end of the world. But 16 for 9, and TC, they don't really take the cleanest trade, but they do bring the tower down very low. They're down the Aegis, and they're still decently ahead in this game. And well, by how much exactly are they ahead? Yeah, they're sitting on a 10k gold, 7,500 experience advantage. This is still them in firm control, despite the fact that that last push didn't go perfectly. Next time it's going to go a lot well, given Aghanim Scepter on Doom and Aghanim Scepter on Lina.
It's also worth noting that Vengeful Spirit bought back in that last engagement, and if Lina was expecting the Blade Mail to be up, she could have used herself to dodge the damage. So I think that is probably just a little bit of a misplay coming out from Lina.
Well, I mean, Lina's doing fine, 7-1-5, so everyone gets 1. And that's DK's 1. And he's been on fire, and that's...
Oh, yeah.
I'm not just saying that because it's Lina. He's been just tearing people to shreds. And, well, it's mostly the Storm Spirit, I think, that's getting to TC. The Storm Spirit's jumping to the back, assassinating. I think, yeah, the Storm Spirit got Ryuzaw, and that's not good times. You want your line to be jumping on the Storm Spirit if you're TC, not the other way around. So if TC handled the next fight just a little bit better, maybe the Doom comes out before the Storm Spirit kills one, then things could go just so differently. They're going to try to go again in the mid lane. Finger of Death will be up soon, but this time they're fighting into a Chronosphere. Things are a lot more dangerous now for TC, even though they may have double Aghanim Scepter ultimates up.
One Aghanim Scepter for each side recently picked up, one for the Zeus and one for the Doom. For now, everybody on Boreal's a safe distance away from TC, but that might not be the case for very much longer. We also have that Lina Axe, which at level 16, that's 950 pure damage. Take a look at the health pools on Boreal. It's not a pretty picture, especially if you don't get the backtrack on the Void.
Oh man, is that actually just a one-hit kill?
Mm-hmm.
I've never seen that before. Dazzle's dying to the Storm Spirit. Thunder God's Wrath once again providing that knowledge. Please show me a one-hit kill. I want to see it so badly. Guanzo, though, going to catch 747 with the Doom. And this is an Aghanim Doom. You're not going to escape. Even though you may get some help from a Force Staff, he is now going to die, even if he is denied. No, he's not even going to be denied. DK, please, fire it off one time. Oh, God. DK, you're disappointing me right now. Double Impale, though, onto Schwan KVH in the back end. Here comes the Juggernaut laying into KVH. There's a Laguna Blade one-shot. And Lina gets it. Now going to go for Schwan. There's an LSA very easily lined up, and Schwan's going to die as well. It was right on the side of my screen, but I caught it, and it was glorious.
It actually doesn't matter. That fight, huge win for TC, but all that matters is that Faceless Void did not backtrack that Laguna Blade. Yeah, just easy one-shot. There's nothing you can do about that. Pick up a Bracer, pick up anything. You need some... Does Strength Threads actually save him? I think it does.
He was at like 900 something. I don't know. I'm pretty sure it saves him, but we'll see. Because he's now going to know that he only has one backtrack also. Like, there's a very, very slim chance that he actually lives through that. All right, Void. Yeah, Strength Treads definitely saves him. So we'll see if that happens next time. But for now, Lina is packing a press button, get kill kind of game. And that is not something you ever want to be facing. And that's not something that you ordinarily see ever. And the scary thing is that, like, she has one of those. The Lion's doing how much damage? Damage 725 damage. It's not an outright instant kill, but it'll get there. And Juggernaut also has pretty much an instant kill button with Omni Slash. You can't do anything about that when the enemies just kill you in one spell cast.
Yeah, also Doom, that's pretty good as far as click button, kill enemy hero. You can pretty much just match them up 1v1 with an opponent on the enemy side, and they'll instantly kill them, and there's nothing they can do about that at this point. BKB is a distant dream for every single one of these heroes, and Stormspirit's not even going for it. It's going to be a Bloodstone build for 747, and I just don't think this is something you can afford. Laguna Blade as well as the Dragon Slave up towards top. That's the end of Axe's life. Like, what do you do about that?
Get hoods on everyone? Like,
well, that
no, then
even
Laguna Blade still goes through. Get soul boosters on everyone. Like, literally everyone needs more health right now. Guanzo's gonna run to 747. He's going to get silenced before he can cast anything. Magic Missile is there, plus the pullback. Guanzo, a little bit slow on the uptake, is going to die, but there is going to be reinforcements here. DK has a spike to support. Loki's gonna swap 747 out. Might get the Storm Spirit his life. Yeah, it looks like it's gonna be just enough, even with the blinking Juggernaut. Loki, though, will pay the ultimate price for it. I don't know where he's going, but I can tell you one thing, he's not getting away from this one. Right click from downtown is going to get the kill. And yeah, Storm Spirit gets to live, but at this point, TC, they have pretty much everyone who's important still alive, namely Juggernaut and Lina. And they're going to look for Roshan, not quite up. They can't really make any pushing happening because they don't have an Aegis. There are no more tier 2 towers to take. But man, they're just going all around the map, and with their instant kill buttons, they're just getting so many kills, and they're just using that to get so much further ahead.
Yeah, they're just constricting this map. If anywhere Boreal gets caught out, they're pretty much dead. But also, if they stay inside their base, there's no way they'll win the game. They kind of need to find initiations, but it just isn't working out for them. 470 is incredibly underfarmed on this Void. I don't think there's another way to put it. He's 0-5-0, which is really peculiar for Faceless Void. Usually you'll expect him to at least get one kill inside the Chronosphere, but right now with the defensive tools that TC have, as well as just with the raw amount of damage, he isn't able to find anything.
Oh no, and the Bloodstone is going to be sniped. Just insult to injury. Storm Spirit, like, he's the only one on Boreal who's actually having a significant impact on their game, except for the Zeus, who is just, you know, providing map hack vision because they have that whenever they need it. But you can't even get your Bloodstone together. Like, now your Storm Spirit pretty much has, you know, all his gold tied up into, you know, a big goose egg. And Boreal, they need more items on more heroes, but man, items on the Storm Spirit, items on anyone, gonna be of the utmost importance. Whereas for TC, they have so much income right now. The Hand of Midas on Doom has been up for pretty much the entire game, or at least, you know, for the past 10-15 minutes. He's gonna get the BKB. He has the Aghanim Scepter already completed. Juggernaut has a Basher, like, and he has not much gold. He has the Abyssal Blade. Okay. He has a completed Abyssal Blade, and there's an Ethereal Blade on Lina, which does not work with the Laguna Blade, but who cares? Sometimes you just gotta hit him with the Laguna Blade, then combo them. Yeah, and you also have a Finger of Death that gets amplified by that. It's still a really sick item. Yeah, it's not going to be the one-hit kill wonder for the Lina, just like within... It's not a shotgun for the Lina, it's a shotgun for the team, let's say. So I don't know how sharing shotguns works. I don't know if it's going to happen, but the dream is real. You Ethereal Blade them, you Finger of Death them. Then Faceless Void is still, I'm pretty sure, in one-hit kill territory. I mean, real talk. If DK combos somebody with the full barrage of spells, it doesn't matter that Laguna Blade doesn't get amped by the Ethereal Blade. They're still completely dead. Yeah, they're pretty screwed. The Boreal need blade mails. They need to go into Axe's build and just copy paste that just like over and over, because that's probably at this point their best chance at fighting back, aside from getting a monster Chronosphere. But the Chronospheres have been very, very underwhelming. Pretty much one hero every single time, and that's not good. It hasn't even resulted in kills every single time. So TC, they're going to jump into the Roshan pit, annihilate him with the double damage rune on Lina. Now where do they want to go? It looks like they want to go in the mid lane. So Boreal, they're going to have to make a defense there. They're going to wrap around, actually. This is going to certainly catch TC by surprise, but is it going to be surprising enough? That's the question. Yeah, it really has to be miraculous for them. And right now, the way that TC are positioned, they might lose like Dazzle on the back lines. But as soon as Boreal see the enemy heroes, I think it's a little too late for them. They cancel cast a Zeus ultimate. I heard it going off in the sidelines, and now they're looking for the blink call. It's only on Archer. Archer is going to lose his life here, and now they get the Omni Slash over on the 470. He is going to be able to survive with swap. No, the right click damage from DK is too much. It's going to start off with two. Oh, there's the Ethereal Blade, Laguna Blade onto KVH, long range Dragon Slave going to the end of his life. Finger of Death onto the Doomed Storm Spirit, and that's a 1 for 5. you die, you die, you die. They're just like firing all these skills. I'm pretty sure that Lina also casted the Ethereal Blade, then Laguna'd while the Ethereal Blade projectile was still in the air, so he didn't, you know, get to the Laguna Blade, or he didn't get full value out of the Finger of Death or anything like that, but he still landed all of his skills with the Ethereal Blade there, didn't jam him up at all. Boreal, they don't even get a Chronosphere up. There was a bash in there from the Juggernaut Omni Slash, and Faceless Void, even with the swap out, could not do jack. And he's going for a Maelstrom. That will not help him either to do anything. He needs to be going for like a Heart or something, or a Blade Mail, or anything along those lines. TC, they just obliterate Boreal, no questions asked. They lose their Dazzle, so he couldn't really do anything there, but 4v5 doesn't really matter when you have this much spell damage, or pure damage, or spell casting damage coming out. DK is going to jump in, annihilate the Faceless Void. I unfortunately missed that. I'm sorry, guys. I want to see that just as much as anyone else, probably more, but that's it. Boreal, they're out.
That was right-click, ult, Dead Void. Actually, nothing you can do. TC, throughout the series and throughout the season of JDL, have really impressed me, and Boreal, unfortunately, haven't. A couple months ago, I really enjoyed watching Boreal's games, and it really feels like they kind of have fallen out of that zone where they're not really super coordinated. So best of luck to them in Division 2, but Thundercats going to secure a spot in Division 1 for the next season.
And if they can keep performing like this, then the Division 1 is going to be very interesting to watch. Unfortunately, guys, Division 1 America, that is not for us to cover, I don't think, unless maybe JD is very, very, very generous. Please, JD. But yeah, we're most likely not going to be covering any or much JDL5 Division 1, if any at all. So that is going to be it for us right now. Thundercats with a clean 2-0 over Boreal, especially in this game too, where it just seems like everything was so easy for them. They just rolled right through Boreal. They are going to be in the Division 1, and Boreal, they're going to stay in Division 2, which is still pretty stacked, and I don't want to take anything away from Div 2. There are very good teams there, but it's going to be the Thundercats taking the victory, and that is going to be it for today, guys. I'm Mike Loris. I've been joined by Grandis View, and if you enjoyed the cast, be sure to hit that follow button down below. Be sure to follow us on Twitter and Facebook, both of those.com/HeflaTV. I'm Mike Loris. You can find me at Mike Loris. He's Grandis View. You can find him at Grandis V on Twitter. Any final words?
Congrats to Team.
All right, guys. That's it for us. See you later.